And we're back with some more Hamilton Tigers franchise mode in FHM 11. And in the last one, we went through the year 13 offseason. And this one, we're going to start the year 14 simulation. That's right. We're gonna keep this going because with where we're at as a team, I think we definitely still have a chance. We still have a very deep roster, very talented roster at that. But we definitely cannot afford to have another season like last season where we missed the playoffs for the first time in, I believe that is 8 seasons. And of course, we made several trades and acquisitions over the offseason, including trading for Max Lappin from Washington. And then you have, I believe I figured this guy's name out. It is Sviatoslav Shkarikovic. One heck of a name right there, but he's pretty solid defensively, so I can't wait to see what he can do. We traded Noah Florent for a first-round pick, which ended up being Archie Starks, who is already a 1.5-star ability and a 4.5-star potential, so we'll see how he turns out. And then, of course, earlier we traded Helenius and Yagi to Ottawa for a couple of firsts. And we also traded for Antoniani from the Winnipeg Jets. And then, of course, that's not to mention all of our free agent signings. So despite the fact that we have the same core, this is very much a different roster. So hopefully we can get a different result this year as we go ahead to start the year 14 simulation. First major injury of the year, Antoniani out for 2 to 3 weeks. All right. Another major injury, Schaefer out 2 to 3 weeks. Oh man, another one. Travers, 2 to 3 weeks. Calf laceration. Yep. All right, we're on November 1st. We're 14-5-1. Everything's been pretty good so far. We're doing really well in goal. Knapp with 16 games played and a 918 save percentage. Warner in 4 games played with a 950. Then skater-wise, you have Korolev leading the way with 23 points. Then you have Frundell with 19, Bjork with 19, Schaefer with 14 and 17, Misa with 14, Vic with 12, DuPont with 12, Travers with 11. 9 for Kazda, 8 for Schaefer and Shkarikovic, 5 for Farkas, Antinani, Watson, and Schwartz, 4 for Solberg, Walgren, and Power, 3 for Fournier and Lappin, and 2 for Halat. And now look at the team stats. Goals for per game, we are 9th in the league with a 3.35. Goals against per game, we are 2nd in the league with a 2.35. Good to see. Faceoffs, we are 3rd in the league with a 53.6. Power play, we are 21st in the league with a 18.3. That could be a bit better. And penalty kill, we're 14th in the league with an 83.3. So overall, we're doing very well. Obviously, the power play and penalty kill could probably be a bit better. But unless something goes horribly wrong within this next stretch, I think we can advance up to the trade deadline here. All right, so we're on January 1st now, halfway point of the season. We are 26-18-6. We went on a little bit of a slide in November. We started with 2 losses, then a win, another loss, a loss, a loss, a win, loss, 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 win, win. And then in December, loss, 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 win, win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss, win, 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 loss, loss. So unfortunately, our hot start was not very long lived. And we now find ourselves 4th in the Atlantic, which currently is a playoff position, but we're playing with fire here because the New Jersey Devils, the Boston Bruins, and the New York Rangers all right behind us. And all of those teams have games in hand too. We have 50 games played. All these teams below us that are within reach have less games played than us currently. So while I am still confident that we can make the playoffs, I am a bit worried as to the trends that have been happening lately. Knapp in 37 games played with an 898. You don't like to see it. Warner in 13 games played with an 924. And let's see, skater-wise, Misa leads the way with 43 points in 48 games played. Bjork with 40 and 50. Korolev with 37 and 40. Frundell with 35. Vic with 31. Kazda with 29. DuPont with 26. Travers with 25, Schaefer with 22, Farkas with 21, Shkarikovic with 18, Schwartz with 16, Antinani only with 15, really? A 3.5-star ability? He had 57 points last year. How much ice time does he have so far? 631? I mean, he's getting a decent amount of time, it looks like. I mean, he was injured for some time, but still, that's not what I expected out of him at the very least. Especially given that 20 roll rating. I mean, I thought that he was going to be on the first line, honestly, with Bjork. Then you have Miller with 13, Lappin with 13, 12 for Walgren, Solberg, and Power, 11 for Watson, 5 for Fournier, 4 for Halat, and 1 for Hamel. Goals for per game, we have fallen down pretty drastically. We're down to 18th in the league now with a 3.12. Goals against per game, now this is where we have really taken a hit. We went from 2nd down to 19th to a 3.08. I mean, I know we have a different roster than we did last year, but I was prioritizing defensive players specifically this offseason, so you would think that would help. I mean, you have Shkarikovic, who we acquired, who's a two-way defenseman, but is primarily defensive. We acquired Owen Power, who's always had a solid grade in the simulation. We acquired Solberg, who is very good defensively as well. Then, of course, we also got faster. There's Brody Antonani, who's got the 20 speed. And I mean, you have the 1.5 star, the 1.5 star ability Finn Werner, currently doing better than the 3-star ability Nap. So at this point, I'm not entirely sure what to do as far as goaltending goes. I mean, we have had a whole list of goaltenders already, and believe me, I've been keeping track. I've been keeping track of the amount of goaltenders that we have used so far in both the Hamilton and New York GM modes. And when I tell you this list, we have a list of over 30 goaltenders between these two series, between Hamilton and New York. I mean, you see all of them right here: Talbot, Wallstedt, Lindgren, Montebo, Seelovs, Wall, Knight, Gustafsson, Gajan, Zavragan, Ravensbergen, Oberholzer, Packer, Miley, Aslan, Werner, and Knapp. Outside of waiting for Archie Starks to develop, I'm fresh out of ideas for goaltending. My guess is as good as anybody else's at this point. That said, we could be doing better scoring-wise, but I'm not sure what I could do at this point to get a better score without doing something like trading DuPont. And of course, he does have that no movement clause in addition to the $14.5 million in salary, so that would not be easily moved. As far as his point production goes, looks like he's a steady 50-point guy who gets a lot of hits, but is that really worth 14.5? That's the question. We could get a couple of good players for that price who could be just as good offensively, right? So I'm not going to actively shop DuPont, but I'm just going to see what's out there, like what other teams are willing to offer for him. So I am willing to listen to offers on DuPont. And if it's anything that's really juicy, then we might have to consider it. But for right now, we're going to go ahead in the simulation up to February and see what happens. Okay, this is getting ridiculous. This is getting ridiculous. Knapp has not been good this last stretch. 793, 821, 824 a couple games before. He had a 6-1 loss to New York, a 5-2 loss to Carolina, then a 5-3 loss to Vegas, 6-3 loss against Toronto. Oh, the goaltending is just so brutal. The goaltending, honestly, at this point, we may as well just see what Werner can do as the full-time starter. He's got that 926 and 14 games played so far. And at this point, I'm not keen on giving Knapp an extension because I know he's due for one here. He's currently asking for 3.3 for 3 years. I'm not giving him that right now. No, sir. Not the way he's performing at the moment. And it would seem that Kazda, ooh, that's not going to help with the scoring. Kazda out indefinitely with torn ankle ligaments. Yeah, I mean, that's not a good one there. He had 30 points so far this season, on track for, I'm going to say 55, 50, somewhere around there. So it looks like he is unfortunately done for the season. I think at this point, I may as well just call Kleems up and see what he's about. It'd be better than running with Knapp at this point. So I think I might just send Knapp down, to be honest. If he gets claimed, then so be it, because I'm getting sick of this. I am getting so sick of the goaltending in this game. Kleems, come up here. Oh no, Viggo Bjork down with an injury. All right, 2-3 weeks. It's not too bad. Not too bad. Bit of a scare there. Okay, seriously, the injuries are getting a little ridiculous now. Shkarikovic out 2-3 weeks. Farkas out 2-3 weeks. And now we're going to need to call up another defenseman. That's going to be Gunther. All right, so we're on February 1st now. I'm happy to report that Daniel Kleems, so far in 7 games played, has a 933. Hopefully that holds up. Not hold my breath, but we'll see what happens here. Warner's still with the 926, so we'll keep going up till the trade deadline and see what happens. All right, well, on March 1st now at the trade deadline. We are 34, 27, and 7. And honestly, it's pretty incredible what good goaltending does for a team. Because despite the fact that we're currently not in a playoff spot, we are just outside the wild card. We could still potentially make it. And I believe with the way that our goaltenders, Werner and Kleems, have been doing as of late, we are giving ourselves a chance. Kleems in 13 games played so far with a 935 save percentage. Please keep that up. And Werner in 14 games played, I don't believe he's played since Kleems was called up. We could, however, still be doing better with our goal scoring. We're only at 3 goals per game, 23rd in the league. So let's see who's underperforming. Antinani only with 19 points in 57 games played. I really thought he'd be better, especially with that 20 speed. And the fact that he had 57 points last year. Now he only has 19. I know the season's not over yet, but it's close to being over. It's interesting because he was initially on the first line with Bjork and I believe it was Frundell, either him or Kazda. Yeah, it was Kazda actually. And we were doing well at that time. Oh, look at that. RASTVOROV was actually traded. I was looking at him before on Cleveland. Now he's on Montreal. Looks like they actually flipped him. And poor guy goes from a losing team to a losing team. Montreal's currently 27, 36, and 5. Actually, I'm kind of curious what they give up from a second round pick. That's it. A second round pick. Okay, what kind of wizardry is Montreal practicing? I want to know right now. I want to know right this second what kind of wizardry Montreal is participating in, because that is I offered 2 firsts, three firsts actually, plus Miller and what was it, Schaefer, and that was not even close for RASTVOROV. Granted, he wasn't on the trade block, but still, like a second, man. Like I said, I don't know what kind of sorcery is being practiced here, but I think Montreal needs to be investigated right now. I am demanding that Montreal be investigated by the league. This is not normal. There's just no way they got him for a second, man. Like that's I call shenanigans. There's no way. How did they do that? I gave up so much more. I was trying to give up so much more than just a second round pick. And I wasn't even close. Whoa, I was just searching the league for some defensemen, and look at the state of Florida's defensive core. That is quite possibly the worst defensive core I have ever seen in this game. Wow. And I think at this point I would rather keep DuPont for this last stretch. So let's just go ahead, see what happens. Hope the goaltending can carry us through to the end of the season and hopefully into the playoffs, because that's basically our last hope here. Oh boy, Malgren down 2 to 3 weeks. And Miller is also down 1 to 2 months. Oof. Slavomir Farkas done for the season. Ruptured tendon for 3 to 4 months. Playoffs probably not happening. I mean, it could. It technically still could happen, but we would need to win probably both of our last 2 games. And we would also need Washington to lose, I'd say 3 of their next 4. So to be honest, I don't think it's happening. We might be missing for a second consecutive year here, unfortunately. Oh, Atianani is injured, indefinite injury heading into the playoffs. And it looks like we might have actually made it here as he goes down, possibly heading into next season. And yes, it would seem we somehow, by some miracle, made the playoffs. And we're starting out against the 46, 26, and 10 Tampa Bay Lightning. And I guess we'll see how Kleems and Warner do. I mean... I know the goaltending in this series has been shaky, to say the least. That's the very least you can say about goaltending in this entire GM mode. But you know what? Kleems did have a strong end to the season with a .928 save percentage in 24 games played, and Warner a 19 with a .922. So there is some hope. We do have a little bit of hope in that. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they could stay consistent during the playoffs. Now, here's where we really struggled this year. Unfortunately, it seems goal scoring was an issue for some reason. I don't know why. This team is so talented on paper when it comes to overall ability and even offensively, individually. But it's almost like as a team, they don't want to gel for some reason. Like it just does not work offensively. And the thing is, that wasn't necessarily even a problem for us last year, and neither was goaltending last year. Last year, we actually had good goaltending from Knapp and Werner, but this year we somehow pulled it off. I think we actually have the same exact record. Yeah, we have the same exact record this year as we did last year, and we somehow squeaked into the playoffs with this kind of scoring. So you have Misa with 60, who leads the way in 77 games played, Frundell with 59, Bjork and Korolev with 57. That is definitely an off season for Viggo Bjork there, especially going into an extension where he's getting 12 mil plus. And I believe that is his lowest point total since his rookie season. Yeah. Korolev, that is better than last season, although it is worth noting that he only played 54 games last season and he would have been on track, I would say, for around 65. Then you have Schaefer with 48, DuPont with 45, Vic with 44, Travers with 39, Kazda with 30 and 49, Schwartz with 28, Antignani with 27. He was really underwhelming in the time that he was active on the roster. I know he's out with an indefinite injury now, but I was expecting a little bit more out of him, considering the fact that he had 57 last year on Winnipeg. Let's see his time on ice. Yeah, I mean, he had a decent amount of time on ice. He had That is at least close to the amount that he had with Winnipeg last year. And he, for some reason, did not have anywhere close to the amount of points that I expected out of him. Then you have Farkas with 25 in 55 games played. Shkarikovic with the 24 points, 22 for Solberg, and Watson, 21 for Wahlgren, 19 for Power, 18 for Miller, 16 for Lappin, 12 for Fournier, 11 for Eichelberger, who had to be called up in 21 games played. Halat with 9 in 53, Gunther with 3, and Hamal with 1. And now we're going to look at the team stats. Goals for per game, we finished 21st in the league with 3.04. Goals against per game, we finished 12th in the league with a 2.95. Faceoffs, we finished 7th in the league with a 51.3. Power play, we finished 21st in the league with a 19%. Penalty kill, we finished 29th in the league with a 78.3. So honestly, in my opinion, if we didn't have that hot start that we did at the start of the season, we would not be in the playoffs right now. In fact, if we had one less win, we probably wouldn't be in the playoffs right now. So let's make sure that we take advantage of this opportunity that we've been given in the playoffs, and hopefully we can go on a run here, because it's certainly been very shaky here in Hamilton the past couple of seasons. So let's hope that these upcoming playoffs can change that. And with that, I would like to thank our channel members. Thank you so much for all your support as always. And I will end things off here. So in the next one, we will go through the year 14 playoffs with your Hamilton Tigers.